Hello, I'm Jill, and this is my friend Brandy.
Hi.
I want to talk to you a little about trauma today. And one thing that I wanted to say about it is this first of all, trauma is anything less than nurturing, an event or an experience that changes your perception of yourself and your place in the world. So that makes trauma sound like a lot more things than we can imagine trauma to be. Anything less than nurturing. Well, I don't know if you're like me, but I've had many things that have been way less than nurturing.
Right.
So, anyway, I want to talk about a few things that were traumatic for me in my life. And they're things that I don't even really discuss with anyone. But as I was thinking about trauma, I thought I need to just come out with these. So, one thing was whenever I was still in high school, I was eating Easter dinner at my boyfriend's parents' house, and we were having a great time. And he decides he wants to go for a motorcycle ride. So, okay, see you later. He goes for a motorcycle ride, and pretty soon he comes running through the door, blood all over him. I just black, mouth torn, and it's like, oh no. So we have to go to the hospital. We have to go through all the things that go along with a traumatic event. And I had to spend several days just going and visiting him in the hospital. And then we went to the prom together. This was my senior year of the prom, and swelled up face, stitches, black eye. And that's the way we went to the senior prom. So that was probably, that was probably more than I can imagine that began to start shaping my life and my perception of things. So fast forward a year, and I had graduated. I started going to school to be a hairdresser. And then I get a call one day that he was bitten by a rattlesnake and they didn't know if he was going to live. So it's like, okay. So I run to the hospital, and they really didn't think he was going to make it through the whole rest of the evening. They had to send to Texas and get anti anti venom to counteract the venom, and finally, slowly, he started coming out of that. So, still at this time, I wasn't even probably thinking very deep about trauma, or I wasn't even thinking how that might play into my life. It was just like, wow, this is hard. So 4 years later, we were married, and we hadn't been married that long. And he took off one evening to go play volleyball with his friends, and I wasn't feeling well, but my neighbor called and it was an emergency, and she wanted me to come over and watch her little boy. There'd been an accident. So I went over there, and I wasn't there too long. I got a knock on the door, and this man says, "Is Mike here?" And I said, "No." And so he said, "Okay." And he left. I thought, well, that was weird. So I go through the evening watching a movie, and my husband came home and called me from next door and said, "I'll be over in a minute after I watch the news." I said, "Okay." And so just 1 second later, there was a knock on there. I thought, oh, he decided to come now. And right then, this guy jumps in the door and holds a knife to my throat. And sorry to say, I did get raped that night by this man in that house. And I have to say that that was the moment whenever I said, if I live, I know I've got a purpose and I want to fulfill that purpose. So, what I'm doing right here is like almost to the day, 40 years later. And this is like a big part of fulfilling that purpose. So I really want to help other people fulfill their purpose. And I'm going to do a slide presentation after this, but I'm going to let Brandy share in a little bit just the process. I went through the process, and it was after I'd been through many other learning tools in my life. I mean, I've gone to recovery meetings. I still go to a recovery meeting every week because it's loving and nurturing there. And I need that so desperately in my life. And I know we all do. So I I just changed because of all these processes. And I know that Brandy's gone through so much training and learning herself. And I just want her to share just the way the process that we took her through helped her life. So it's all yours, Brandy. I thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. It's, I wanted to go back to what we were talking a little bit before we started about trauma and how we all go through trauma. I mean, every person, no one is immune to it. And obviously some people seemingly come through and are unscathed, while other people go through things that are seemingly more minor, but yet have more of an impact on their life. And so, I mean, we're all human, we're all individuals, and trauma affects us in different ways, and lots of things play a role in how we process that. If we have a good support system, if we were talked to about what happened and that it wasn't our fault and all kinds of things. But what we were talking about earlier was that basically traumas come into our lives, and in the process of us becoming independent and feeling like that we're moving into the driver's seat of our lives and control of our destiny, that these traumas come and basically they move us out of that role into the passenger seat, where we feel that we're not at the helm of our own ship or driving our own destinies.
Absolutely.
And it makes us feel powerless and helpless. And so if we are not able to, I think some of us in some way then almost take on that role of victim for a lot of the rest of our lives. And unless some sort of intervention happens, what you were talking about, having that moment where you're like, if I survive this, I'm going to do something. We all have two choices really with anything that we go through. And that is, it's going to deeply affect us to the point that we're no longer who we were created to be, or that we say, God, we believe that you are good and that good's going to come of this. And, you know, or we believe in ourselves that we are going to make this good. And so I think, you know, the process for me, whenever it's been unlayering, you know, over years of different things, thinking that you've pretty much resolved things. And that's one aspect of complex trauma, where you've been through multiple severe trauma, that you think that you're doing pretty well, and then something triggers, or, you know, kind of have something come up, and all of a sudden you feel like you're back at square one. And that's kind of the point where I met you, as you know, in church and doing all the right things, being a wife, being a mother, and then, but struggling inside to try to make sense of it all. And at that point, you know, reaching out, you have two choices, whether you reach out or whether you try to struggle alone. And I think that we have to find a place that's safe. And like your meeting, you know, that you said you go to, that's your safe place. We all have to have a safe place where we can kind of take the mask off and say, hey, this is where I really am, and know that we're loved there. So for me, the process was enjoyable, and it was critical really for me at that moment. And I really feel like it was just ordained at that time, because coming into an environment where I felt that I was being heard and being accepted in a non-judgmental atmosphere, and to be able to kind of lay it all on the table, and just the way that the questions and all of that, it really gets you thinking, and kind of, you know, how did this all affect me, and what role is it playing in my life now? To be able to lay all of that out on the table, and for someone to look at you and say, from, you know, from their own heart and their own experiences, this isn't too much for me. This isn't overwhelming. This is, you know, there's hope for this. And And we've been through our own things, and we believe that you can come
Mhm.
out on the other side. And I had seen successes and then failures, and successes and failures and successes and failures. But for me, the thing that was the most impacting and most powerful was the acceptance and love and being
Yes.
heard. And it's the big saying that when people are heard, they begin to heal. And that's the truth.
Yes.
To really be heard, not just listened to, but really heard. And that's felt in empathy, where we put
Mm.
ourselves in the other person's shoes and try to imagine, you know,
Yes.
how we would process that or whatever. And then to just be able to say, this isn't who you are. This is what you've been through. Or this is what's been done to you. And all of this can come for good. And like, you had said, and I'm sure you'll talk about here in a little bit, but too, I absolutely know that everything that I went through in my life has all geared me toward what I know my purpose
Yes.
is. And, we serve foster children, adoptive children. We've had right at 50 children, and we've adopted and now have 8 children in our home. And my process of having grown up and being abused and neglected and ending up in foster care and shifted around, I know that those experiences, as difficult as they were, all led me up to where I am now. Had it
Yes.
not been for those things, I think I still probably could have done this. But would I've even thought about it or even had the heart for it? My passion is these kids, and having been through it, I can understand, while it's their story and not my own, I can identify with them, and I think connect with them, because I really do know how it feels.
Yes.
So
Yes. And we just really, I'm talking about we, Marty and I, are just so excited about helping and just encouraging people to step into their destiny. And this lady is a major walking miracle. And
thank you.
oh wow, we just really enjoyed just our time with her. And every time we do it, every time we help somebody go through it, we grow ourselves, and it takes us a little bit deeper and to a new level. And this lady's a blessing. Yeah, we really appreciated her coming in. And yeah, we I just have to say we learned as much as she did by going through the process with, I'm saying her, but with you.
Right.
Yes. So I'm going to do a slide presentation, but I just want to ask if there's anything more that you'd like to share, just to speak to the people. And I know one thing that we both talked about is it's not about what happens to you. It's not about your life. It's about what you do with it.
Right.
It's about your decision and your choices after that. So yeah, I'm just hoping that the people that are within our voices just make those right choices, because I mean, Branda's even gone through a horrible, sad thing with a family member just within the
Mhm.
last few months, where it was
Right.
somebody that we couldn't even imagine was in the place that they were, and it ended not good.
Right.
So it just shows us that there are people walking around that seem like they've got it all together, and inside they're so hurting and they so need someone to
Right.
talk to. Like even the person that you look at and think that they're the most successful person you can
Right.
imagine can be walking in that place. So
Right.
so I think really what I learned more than anything is all these things that I went through, all of this training. It's just like you and I both could have never learned all this by going to college.
Right. Absolutely.
We could have never learned these life lessons that
Right.
way. So anyway, if you don't feel like there's anything more that you have to share, I think I'll come up with the slide
Okay.
presentation, and you think you're good.
I think the only thing that I would say is that sometimes we mistake, what is strong for weak and what is weak for strong, and it takes a lot of strength to reach out. It's to make ourselves vulnerable. We always risk being misunderstood or being rejected, and so. But when we're hurting deeply inside, then we are and alienating ourselves. Then we are at risk of other things.
Yes.
drifting off into depression, or just whatever, all of those things that it can lead to. And so I think it's, we put feelers out, we try to find safe places, but when you do find that place and you can kind of just get all the junk out and just lay it out, and someone says,
Yes.
I still love you, I still believe in you, I still see purpose in you, it brings healing.
Absolutely.
And it's worth it. It's worth it if you don't find it in one place, to keep reaching out until
Yes.
this is definitely a safe place.
Oh,
So.
we all need that encouragement too. It never ends needing encouragement.
No.
Never ends.
Right.
We need that. Okay, well, thank you for sharing with us. You've just got such a beautiful way with words and expressing yourself. And
thank you.
she's in a season, you're in a season of all these foster children, but I know that whenever this season is up, you are going to plunge in there and you're changing all these lives in your home right now. You're changing lives and they're changing you, right? But as you go along, I know that every season of life, you're going to have just a great potential to help others.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, the title is Stop Crashing Your Life Purpose Because of Past Trauma. You can be healed physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You're in the right place if you've experienced trauma in your life and nothing has helped. Relationships have crashed. You're down on yourself. Your job's been affected. You've even tried to harm yourself. To start, you need to be able to admit that your life needs to shift, like what we were talking about, finding that safe place. Do you feel like you're repeating the same mistakes and patterns? Take a minute and think about that. Sometimes I think we're doing that and we don't even realize we're doing it. And we do have to take a minute and think about that. Can I really get help? You may be asking yourself. Will I ever get free? Could this possibly be any different? We offer a free call to get to know you a bit and see if what we offer is a fit for you. Then we start working on you getting your life restored. Yay! Why stick around? Because it really works and you're worth it. There is a special secret at the end of our call. What makes it different? We really do care. That's what. We're on a mission to help people get free from trauma. This is more about finding the real you and your purpose. Fact, between Marty and I, we have combined 100 years of trauma and training between us.
All our lives.
That ought to be good for something, right? What have you tried? There has to be solutions. There has to be change. There has got to be results. We can unlock the doors to healthier relationships, restoration, identity, confidence. It can help destructive patterns so you can find the gold in you, and then you can carry on to find the gold in others. It's like you'll be out of that victim mode and always trying to find out the answer for you. You'll be more about helping people find their answers. You'll change from the inside out with this process. No more striving to get better all by yourself. The process will work for you. 5 simple upgrades to get started with your new life and identity. 1, and I've mentioned it before, just realize that you need a shift. 2, be willing to shift. Be open to the gold that's inside of you. It is there. and focus on a process to find the gold, and then walk out your true identity to find the gold in others. We're Marty and Jill Rogers. We have many proven strategies to help overcome huge obstacles in life. We want to share our experience, strength, and hope with you. We will custom design any strategy that you may need. We're looking forward to sharing with you the keys to success. Okay, so the beginning is you. Harming yourself, maybe, isolation, maybe, sexual abuse, divorce, self-medication, PTSD, whatever all of our vices are to help us survive, equals people judging you, not understanding you, and abandoning you. The new way, we deal with past family things. We heal beliefs that you have about yourself. We restore some of the painful memories. Many other things go along with this, and in the process, you start breaking free, and then you learn how to walk it out. This is all a healing process, and then you become where the past no longer has the power to control you. You have more confidence. You have new power to walk it out. Impossible. How do I know this will help you? It helps everyone. Restoration can happen. There's no life so shattered that it can't be restored. This is so true. And if you have a hard time believing this, then you really do need your hope restored. Just believe in the process. Really, all you have to do is be willing. Just believe just that much. We want to help you unlock your hidden potential. It's there, it just needs to surface. Just have to trust and believe that we can help you. You're absolutely worth it. Just believe one more time. Your life will take on new meaning and you will be like a new person. You'll start attracting healthier people in your life, and you'll start forgiving things and forgetting things that have been haunting you forever. There's a myth that you have been like this your whole life and you'll never change. But the truth is, my life can be stopped, deleted, and transformed into a new beginning. When you get this, things that you struggled with won't be passed on to the next generations. You'll begin to like yourself and even love yourself. We want to get to the heart of the matter. You need a change of heart. You can work all day trying to change your mind, but if you have a change in your heart, your mind will follow.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Let's focus on what needs to happen right now. Can you follow our lead? Is it worth it to change your life and just shift everything? Can you believe it can happen? My story, I was raped at knife point. I've been divorced 3 times. I totally lost my voice, my identity, and my purpose. Everything that I promised I would do at that knife point, at one point, all went away from me because I just got lost. And in a memory that we tapped into, we figured out why my voice had been lost. My voice will never be lost again. We want you to fulfill your and we want to fight to make that happen. Marty's story, he experienced any and every trauma that you can imagine, abuse in every way, divorce, poverty, and PTSD, and he's totally transformed. We won't judge anything that you've been through. We think that you're worth this. We want to help as many people as we can. We will believe in you even if you can't believe in you. You can trust whichever process we design for you. Things that trauma can also cause. They can cause you to have an orphan lifestyle. You think that you're alone and no one cares about you. You even feel alone when you're in a crowd sometimes. Depression and sadness can sink in. Shame, fear, control. You try to hang on to things too tightly. You can have a loss of identity. That's what happened to me. Not even really remembering who I was or what I was supposed to be doing. You can lack trust, especially with authority figures. I think a lot of us can have that. What can we do about these things? Let's talk. We can make this happen. The results: trust is restored. You attract new relationships. Dreams can be restored. Fear is dissolved. Life starts flowing through you. New relationships built. People that are good for you and just start working with you on things that you want to work on. You're not alone anymore. You start feeling excited about life. You have a new perspective, feeling good about who you are and where you're headed. Not being the victim anymore. Whoa, that's enough right there. Why trust the process? It's dependable and transforming. We want to help you. It can free you up for today. You were created for great things, I promise. Everyone was. You will learn things that you didn't know about you. Words can harm us. They can also hold us in a pattern. We have to break those patterns. Also, words can harm others. We have to clean up harmful things that we have said about others. We have to forgive ourselves. We offer different options. Some people are just starting and need baby steps. Others are ready to plunge in deeper. We get that. We're also sensitive to the fact that some people have sought help to be misunderstood. People have been hurt when they've sought out to get help in many ways. We also honor the fact that you could be receiving help in other ways, and we know that in many forms our help are necessary sometimes. Please consider all the things that we've discussed today. It's not the time to procrastinate. Life is too precious to keep walking around with so much stuff hanging around your neck. Let's do this. Let's admit that life is not going like expected. Start believing that you can change. Believe that there is a great person crying to be loosed, and that's the truth. Be willing to go through the process designed perfectly for you. You'll be walking out your amazingly restored life. We have been imparted special gifts to help you walk this out. You will be amazed. We are too. It's time to decide. We've set aside some time in the next week to speak to you personally about how you can apply these strategies to your life, and the cost is free. Who's this for? Hopefully you. Why are we doing this? because we will dial in on what you specifically need, your goals, and help you get clarity on how to reach them. You will get an exact strategy to make it happen. We have some spots available. If we think it's a fit, we will place you on our schedule to start with you and start a plan for you. We'll walk you through the program that we and many others have been set free from and walk out our freedom. We are happy to design just the right plan for your specific life and what you've dealt with. Okay, click below if you decide to do this. Thank you. And
Thank you. No,
Thanks,
thank you.
Brandy.
Thank you.
Yes.
You won't be sorry. Thank you.
Bless you.